we are here to look at how do we improve the food security in Karamoja so that children do not go to work. Our findings as Work No Child Business Program and other partners reveal that most children in Karamoja go to work because of hunger. As a program, we've done a lot, and we have withdrawn over 9,000 children, supported them to enroll in school, in vocational training, skills development, and others. But we realize that the issue of hunger is undoing our work. So we came together and said, how do we have a dialogue for us to discuss and come out with really practical solutions of making our children not go to the mines because of hunger.
We have never teamed up for a particular issue like this one. So we want to team up.
Let us generate practical solutions that will alleviate food insecurity and support ongoing interventions by the government, UN agencies, and civil society organizations, including the WNCB School Farming Initiative in the 8 villages of Moroto and Nakapiripiti. A multi-sectoral approach is essential to address this complex issue. Together, we can eradicate child labor and ensure that every child in Uganda has the opportunity to thrive in a safe, nurturing, and supportive environment.
Poverty is one of the key push factors for children to engage in child labor. And among the many interventions that the project is doing, one of them is to ensure that households can be able to access income, households can be able to grow their investments, and this has been done through Village Savings and Loans Association. Communities and groups have been empowered to start up livelihoods that are going to grow their incomes, because we believe that it is everyone's responsibility in the community. And if everyone takes responsibility, then we can have all children go to school.
If a child is told properly that there are benefits through this education, they will come. And now the Karamojong have started coming, by the way. What we do is, first of all, ourselves, government, must institute security so that elders can now look after cows, and we use force to take all the children to school. And the government should give free education and dormitories, because those of us who went there, we go to dormitories, so that for Karamoja it's a special thing to feed the children at school. That will bring their children to school. And then, of course, agriculture, we should assist the people so that those who are engaged in the agriculture, when children go back, they find the food and come back to school. That's how we should do it.
All that we are discussing is hinged on poor access to education in Karamoja. But once there is compulsory boarding education, there is compulsory feeding in schools, there is a compulsory provision of scholastic materials, I am sure kids will stay at school.
Then these ones, the emerging jobs like mining and so on, these should be restricted, and children should not be allowed to go and do this job.
We should strive to support peace processes or peace dialogues in this community so as to bring the conflict down. That could be one measure to reduce the vice.
I went to school because there was no food at home, but I managed to remain there because slowly by slowly, I got to know the value of education. And now to a member of parliament, you can see the strength of food. So we need government to have a deliberate plan to implement the Karamoja food security plan. We have it. It was already passed. It is there in the Ministry of Karamoja Affairs and the Office of the Prime Minister.
At the slopes of the mountain is where you find crop production. So I am proposing that the members of Parliament for Karamoja should think of gazetting the slopes of the mountains, Kadam, Napak, for agriculture, and also think of allocating farmland for the schools and then some tractors, maybe one per sub-county, so that the schools can also produce their food.
The ministry is working on the development of a comprehensive and inclusive school feeding policy, and it's at the regional consultations level. We may interest this program to come on board and support the review of the school feeding and nutrition guidelines, operationalization of the school feeding menu by Ministry of Health, then integration of school feeding and nutrition into the education management information system. This has been done, and with support from World Food Program, tablets for every school were given to support data collection. And lastly, benchmarking from success countries like India and apply the models they've used. Thank you.
We propose certain solutions here. There are many. Promote growing of crops and vegetables that grow in a short time, what we call short-term crops. Advocacy of strengthening of household systems in the home of generating income. Scale up technologies so that the farming communities would be engaged in value addition and commercialized agriculture. Mechanize agriculture. Support water for production.
Identify land in any area, whether vacant land or so that it can be used by the school to produce food. Those schools without young farmer club, we encourage to establish. Others with the farmer clubs, we strengthen them. Then lastly, we now look at community awareness. Creating awareness and sensitization, it would really help us to use that. Then under broader and long-term action interventions, we looked at affirmative actions about compulsory school feeding and boarding. There is also another formative action of free education for Karamoja. Then there is also popularization and enforcement of audience and bylaws.
As development partners, we recognize the fact that we complement government. First is to integrate SBCC, behavioral change component in awareness creation and dialogues. This is to respond to the cultural norms and for them to be able to buy the idea of taking self-responsibility and contributing to securing food for their children and their family. Secondly, we have got to know their working groups within the districts we operate in. And our interest here is to see how we can intentionally influence or be part of the discussion and align the discussions at those two platforms. As we do this, to provide food or to ensure there's food, we are also conscious of making our partners and government and stakeholders aware that we should not be doing harm to the environment.
Whereas the government policy is saying there must be a primary school in every parish. But the story on the ground is not obtaining. Some parishes have no primary school. So we are going to use this Article 32 to be able to do our advocacy through the Ministry of Education, especially the accounting officer, the PS, Ministry of Education, and the minister. The issue of coding of schools. We have noticed most of the schools, especially community schools, are not coded. We could advocate for free boarding, free and compulsory boarding education in Karamoja. And this one, again, the political leaders and the technical departments can do this through sensitization of the communities. Go back to school campaigns. We can do it jointly. Then lastly, we want a government to revitalize the Karamoja Development Agency. All the interventions in Karamoja are being operated from Kampala in the office of the Prime Minister. No, we are saying the narrative should change. Let it come to Karamoja because it had the environment issues, it had water, it had livestock, it had crop cultivation, that is food security. Government should bring back Karamoja Development Agency to steer development in Karamoja. Thank you.
Government of Uganda is committed to addressing food and nutrition insecurity as well as the increasing national income through the various strategies. A good example is that of parish development model. And NRM knows that education is the most reliable tool.
Also, as Work No Child Business Program, we mobilized the communities in the 8 villages where we are working. They gave us land, about 5 to 15 acres of land, school land, to grow crops for the children to have a meal at school.
We pledge to work tirelessly throughout the remaining period to develop sustainable strategies that can be replicated and scaled up.
We ran away when we were needed most.
We are very, very grateful for your coming, for all the support that we have enjoyed as a program, and we look forward as we get into the final stage of our program.
I would like to thank you, all of you really, who have initiated this program. Thank you very much.